So welcome everybody. This is the November meeting of the Boston chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby. Tonight we're very pleased to have Dr. Brita Lundberg join us to give us a brief talk. She's the president-elect of the Greater Boston Physicians for Social Responsibility. GBPSR is a chapter of Physicians for Social Responsibility, a national organization formed in 1961 to address the health consequences of nuclear and other weapons of mass destruction. It has since broadened its mission to include the health consequences of environmental pollution and degradation, and also the reduction of violence and its causes. PSR's international federation, the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War, was awarded the 1985 Nobel Peace Prize for its efforts to translate the abstract concept of nuclear war into medical and personal terms. Dr. Lundberg is an infectious diseases physician, board member and president-elect of Greater Boston Physicians for Social Responsibility, delegate and member of the Occupational and Environmental Health Committee of the Massachusetts Medical Society, and board member and co-head of the Detect and Protect team at the COVID-19 Action Coalition. Her primary area of interest is the effects on human health of fossil fuels and climate change. Tonight, Dr. Lundberg will be telling us about who Greater Boston Physicians for Social Responsibility are and where they are going. Dr. Lundberg, welcome to CCL.
Thank you so much. And many thanks to Gary and to the Citizens Climate Lobby for inviting me to speak tonight. PSR has been called the active conscience of the medical community, and it's now one of the largest physician-led organizations in the United States. We have over 30,000 members nationwide, 30 state and local chapters, 39 medical student chapters. And with our national staff, we form a national network. And tonight I'm going to briefly tell you about Greater Boston Physicians for Social Responsibility. We're a chapter. Oh, my slides aren't advancing. Oh, there they did. We're a chapter of Physicians for Social Responsibility. We draw members from all over Eastern Mass. And Gary asked me to address in a little bit of detail what our mission is and what kind of organization we are. We're really a public health advocacy organization. And our goal is to address the two existential threats of our time: climate change and nuclear weapons. We were, as he mentioned, the founding chapter of PSR. We were founded in 1961 by a group of physicians here in Boston, led by cardiologist Bernard Lown and Victor Seidel, who were concerned about the public health dangers associated with the testing, stockpiling, and use of nuclear weapons. Those Boston area doctors found radioactive strontium-90 in baby teeth, and they knew it could only come from nuclear weapons tests. So their work speaking out on those dangers led to an international ban on nuclear testing and atmospheric nuclear explosions. And as Gary mentioned, resulted in them being awarded in conjunction with IPPNW, the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War, won Nobel Peace Prize in 1985. And then the nuclear weapon ban won a second Nobel Peace Prize in 2017. So we're working on our third. I was really struck. So what's the link between nuclear war and climate change? Well, obviously both are toxic to human health and lethal to our planet. I was really struck when I heard a talk by former Defense Secretary William Perry about nuclear war the other day. And he put up a photo like this of California. And he said, "Isn't this just like nuclear winter? Look, we've had these wildfires in California, and it's as dark during the day now as it would be during a nuclear winter." And many of us know that a nuclear winter would result in months and maybe years of darkness such as this. Fortunately, in California, that only lasted a couple days. So what are GBPSR's priorities? Our priorities are to inform the public and policymakers of the human health impacts of climate change and nuclear weapons, and really just to let people know that these are public health issues. Obviously to promote local, state, federal action on them, and to build coalitions with like-minded groups to amplify our message. What are the 3 most important things you might want to know about GBPSR? That we're a trusted physician's voice. We actually do have non-physician members, I should add. Our members include anyway, experts in public health and cancer epidemiology and every range, but we do have non-physician members. But nevertheless, because we're known as a physicians group, we are a trusted physician's voice that offers state of the science data on medical and public health information about nuclear war and climate change. We're very committed to health equity and to environmental justice, and we believe in being transparent and collaborative in our work. What's our major climate goal? I'm going to focus on the climate part of our work since I'm addressing you, the Citizens Climate Lobby. And that is to ensure a just, rapid transition from a fossil fuel economy to a clean energy one. How we hope to accomplish this: we do support state and city projects to retrofit buildings, transition our natural gas infrastructure to a geothermal one, invest in public transportation, electric vehicles, upgrade the electric grid, generate and store clean energy, and really overall just promote the health benefits of electrification. GBPSR maintains a speakers bureau. So if you know of any groups who are interested in hearing on a lecture on natural gas and its health harms, on the health benefits of electrification, any host of any subject related to climate change, we have physicians happy to give talks on these subjects. What about our advocacy at the federal level? Obviously, we are very keen to advocate to rejoin the Paris Accord. And we strongly believe that we need widespread education and a marketing campaign to build national consensus around the Green New Deal or a variant of that, to train workers to work in clean energy, to stop subsidizing fossil fuels through tax breaks and incentives, and instead incentivize financial institutions and universities. I've been very involved with the Harvard Endowment since I went to college there, to prioritize investment decisions that favor clean energy over fossil fuels. And finally, a strong effort around improving air pollution standards, especially PM 2.5. So what has GBPSR accomplished in the realm of climate and health? We did receive an Energy Foundation grant about 1.5 years ago to look into the health benefits of electrification, specifically heat pumps and cooking with induction stoves. We developed presentations on that. We advocated at the state and city level for the net zero carbon building stretch code, and we advocated for no new natural gas hookups in new buildings, which actually passed in Brookline, which was very exciting. We released 4 scientific reports refuting the Commonwealth's flawed health impact assessment on the Weymouth gas compressor station, an issue that we've been very active on, that detail its health, safety, and climate risks. And then we've partnered with the Massachusetts Medical Society on a forum on climate change at the Tufts Medical Center a couple years ago. We've recently joined the Allendale Coalition to advise on health aspects of Suffolk Downs development, Climate Ready Boston, and the Belle Isle Marsh. We also strive just to inform public opinion and to educate. And as part of that, we discovered that there was really nothing in the literature for physicians about the health impacts of natural gas infrastructure. And so along with 2 of my colleagues, Dr. Phil Landrigan at Boston College and Howie Frumpkin, who until recently was over in England but is just retired, I believe, to Washington State, drafted this opinion piece on natural gas infrastructure and its health harms, and it's in the January issue this year of the New England Journal. As part of this, we also work very hard, striving to draw public awareness to things like exposure to natural gas, not only at the compressor station or at the drill rig, but right in your kitchen through gas stoves. And we were very pleased that the Massachusetts Medical Society passed policy about this, creating a public health campaign so that people would know that pediatric asthma is strongly linked to the use of natural gas in your stove. And if you just do things like ventilate your kitchen, you greatly decrease the risk of and the severity of pediatric asthma. We were very pleased after passing this and after the public health campaign that both The Atlantic and Scientific American have published really nice pieces on the link between gas stove and pediatric asthma, which is even more important now with COVID, because obviously people are spending much more time indoors. How to finance this public health agenda, that brings me back a little bit to the nuclear weapons question. I believe that, for example, if we renounce first use, or with the nuclear weapons ban, any use, and as per a recent policy passed at Mass Medical Society, any use of nuclear weapons, then we have a clear path to financing our pressing environmental and health issues around climate change. We can reassign that 1.2, I can't go back, $2 trillion. Can I go back? I can't go back anyway. We have dedicated to redoing our entire nuclear arsenal, and we can put it into the very serious health challenges of climate change. And COVID-19, of course, is partially linked to climate change and is worsened by climate change. And so we very much need all of that funding right now and all of that focus, because our survival and the survival of the planet is dependent on it. I'm happy to take any questions, and I know this is sort of an old cartoon that many of you may have seen, but oldie but goodie. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. I just have one quick question to begin. How many chapters do you have, and where are they located?
Yes, so we have 30 chapters in 30 different states. The big chapters that I know of are LA, Washington State, Colorado, but we're all over the country. And we have our main office in Washington, DC, and they sort of orchestrate all of us now. Obviously we're the founding chapter, but we ended up spreading all over the country.
Great. Does anybody else have any questions for Dr. Lundberg?
I have a quick question. I was just wondering, do you all do a lot of public speaking, or how do you get your message across?
We do do a lot of public speaking. We get asked, and now with Zoom, it's quite convenient because I can give talks in any state. So this spring and summer, I've given talks in Virginia and Maryland, and really anywhere. My focus is really on the human health impacts of natural gas infrastructure. So I get asked by a lot of communities who are faced with a new compressor station or a new pipeline or both. And they want to communicate to their neighbors what the human health impacts of those decisions might be. But we also, we have an executive director, Anna Baker. I think Gary has had some interaction with her. And so people generally reach out to her, and then we schedule one of our speakers to sort of fill the gap.
David?
Yeah, thanks, Gary. And thanks so much, Dr. Lundberg. I'm a medical student at Harvard, and I'm really happy to hear about the physician work on this issue as well. I'm curious about how you engage with elected leaders, especially because you mentioned that the GBPSR has done all this great work around research. how do you communicate that information to elected leaders, and how do you go about convincing them of the urgency of this problem?
Right. So we do that in a number of ways. Sometimes we go directly to, pre-COVID, to the State House to meet with leaders. We write letters, we create petitions. Sometimes we don't even meet with elected officials. We'll say, go meet with the head of the Department of Public Health here. Dr. Monica Burrell, we met with her about the Weymouth compressor station. We'll meet with individuals at the EEA, the sort of correlate of the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection here. But we also go meet with elected officials. Sometimes it's interesting, in all of my talks around natural gas infrastructure, often I find myself shoulder to shoulder with elected officials. For example, over in Weymouth, every single elected official in that, certainly in Weymouth, but all of the surrounding towns were against that project. And so when there were protests and talks against this compressor station, it was very interesting, because they were absolutely with us and really appreciated our voice. And you're welcome to come to one of our meetings. I'm happy to send you the link. I'll have Anna, if you would like. I'm happy to connect you if Gary would
that'd
like
be great. Thank you so much.
Connect us. We'd be delighted.
Sure.
We have some other medical students who are in our group also. And there used to be, it's funny, because when I went to medical school, I initially got involved in Physicians for Social Responsibility when I was in medical school. And in Wisconsin, we had a really active chapter, and it was just super fun. We went to conferences all over the country. So
great.
Fantastic that you're interested.
Does anybody else have a question?
I guess I just had one more kind of follow-up question. I was trying to, I was thinking, when you go to hearings or with the Weymouth compressor station, do you focus on the public health aspect? Is that kind of your main emphasis, or do you kind of come at it with a broad perspective?
I have to say the public health emphasis is absolutely our emphasis, but we've also brought in climate change as part of that, because of course climate change has public health implications, and it's being built in a 100-year floodplain, and that is more and more prone to flooding. And so when you're putting explosive infrastructure right there in the middle of a floodplain, obviously it has climate and health implications. But yes, I find that that's the most effective for us as physicians. I just find that it's where my expertise lies and where I feel like I have the greatest impact. We also have been called on to testify. So even though we do say, it's interesting, Gary, because when you gave the summary of our group, we did used to have also a very active environmental focus on environmental toxins and that kind of thing. And the group has moved away from that a little bit. And it's possible that as president, I'm going to move us back into that area, because I think that they all interdigitate and they're all intertwined. And so that's another area that I would like to speak to more. And we have more recently spoken out about pesticide use, and we have also spoken out just even when the trees were going to get cut down on Melnia Cass Boulevard. I actually went over and addressed a group over there about the importance of trees in a heat island. They are a heat island, and they're a formerly redlined area. And so I could address the public health impact of that, which luckily now seems to be, they're coming up with a new plan for Melnia Cass.
Congratulations.
Well, I was just the icing on the cake. I have to say that it was the community that literally rose up and was so powerful, such a strong voice. They were fantastic to work with.
Okay, well, thank you for your time tonight. We really appreciated this. If for any reason you're starting any new campaigns that you think we might like to hear about, please get back in touch with us.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We will do that.
You're welcome to stay on through the rest of our meeting. We're going to go into our regular business meeting now, but I understand if you're busy and need to drop off and maybe catch dinner with your family.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Really
Thank you.
great to be here. Night.
Talk to you again soon. Bye.